Recently, presidential aspirants Isko and Leni confirmed through their own surveys, focus groups and analysis that Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is way ahead of them in the presidential contest, with their own numbers indicating that his lead will unlikely be reduced by May. According to the article in the Manila Times by Mr. Rigoberto Figlio and news report in radio station DZAR News Blast, the poll was done by WN Numero and was commissioned by aspirant Moreno. WN Numero is a mobile-based type of polling and is a new company set up by relatively young PhDs. It even implies that the only way a Marcos presidency can be avoided would be for him to be disqualified from running. In such a scenario, its polls say the Manila mayor would win as he is the second choice of all voters, preferred by 28% of its respondents as against 9% for Robredo. Although it uses a mobile phone-based method of polling, the WN Numero's survey results are quite close to those of other pollsters, which use face-to-face interviews. According to WN Numero's 10 such surveys, Marcos was preferred by 49% in October last year. This rose to 59% in the previous survey from January 2 to 6. According to Isko's research, even if Duterte criticizes him, 28% of those surveyed prefer him to continue what Duterte started. In response to poll questions, who do you think Duterte looks like? 68% chose Bongbong Marcos and Moreno was only 9%. Meanwhile, 21% chose him because he will continue the work of his father, Ferdinand Marcos. Bongbong voted about 20% for implementing a good program in Ilocos Norte when he was a governor and a senator, 17% for being honest, credible and sincere, and 7% for vice presidential candidate Sara Duterte as his running mate. Some interpret that 68% of those who vote for him are strong voters, or if those who will not change their minds. Isko's survey findings also show that Bongbong has 39% of strong voters, same as President Rodrigo Duterte in 2016. Other candidates are still a mile away from Robredo's 10% in May, with the same percentage of voters. According to a separate survey by the BBM camp, his strong voters are at 50%. On the other hand, the survey conducted by Robredo's camp was not a survey, but a report on focus groups discussion with 3 to 5 participants, combined with the author's analysis. But it wasn't the name of the author or the company that did it. The title of the report was Il Figlio. This is the Italian word for son, and a reference to Bongbong Marcos, the son of Ferdinand, who must be defeated by Robredo. But Robredo's investigation is virtually overkill in explaining why Bongbong Marcos, BBM, is ahead of the polls and Robredo is so far behind. Regardless of her attitude towards BBM, it is reported that her voluntary relationship with the Dilawans always surfaced. She's a laughingstock, the connection between the Liberal Party and her husband, and how much her story resembles that of Corazon Aquino's. According to the investigation, there was the perception that she did not achieve anything as vice president, lacked the experience and skills to run for president, and was a face of discord during President Rodrigo Duterte's tenure. Meanwhile, the focus group study commissioned by Robredo concludes that BBM has a clear image, a spontaneous association of positive functional and emotional traits, and assesses the father's legacy. By understanding the power of the prototype in our consciousness, as first explained by Carl Jung and developed by psychologists, the popularity of BBM cannot decline in just 4 months before elections. Robredo's research points out that the archetype is a symbolic image that we unknowingly understand. Jung used the concept of the archetype in the theory of the human mind. It exists in our collective unconscious. Jung has defined 12 major types that represent the range of basic human motives. Each of us tends to have a dominant archetype that governs our character. Robredo's research continued. The image of BBM seems to be somewhere between the hero and the magician. Hero, BBM is perceived to be responding to people's needs and driving the Filipino economy. Magician, that perception is the father. BBM has the same vision of moving the Philippines forward and onward. The more intrigues thrown at him, the stronger the image of his hero seems to become, the study noted, and these did not raise any doubts against him. This study does not reveal which prototype describes Robredo. This is probably why her PR have tried several imaging for her during the stretch since she declared her candidacy. How can she compete with heroes and magicians? The study states that the Robredo camp should adopt the caregiver prototype as an overall image. However, in this country, caregiver means the person who cares for the elderly. Why would someone want a caregiver to become the president? The article concluded. In a recent statement, presidential aspirant VP Leni Robredo admits that she is partly to blame why people believe or perceive that she has not done anything during her tenure as vice president because she shuns self-promotion in public service. Whoa! Wow! Really now? Are you sure of what you are saying? Shunning self-promotion in public service? How sanctimonious can one be?